Now, this is a disclaimer right in the beginning of the show. This is not for everyone, okay? We're talking about turning the big 3-0. So for those of you who are not yet 30, just about to get there, this is like your take caution show. And then for those of you who are post, this is just a time for you to reminisce how great or how bad your 30s were. So I have some newly turned 30s on my panel. Corazon Mwende, or Corey, is a communications consultant, writer, and mentor, currently a PR consultant for a leading solar energy firm in the UK. Stay tuned to hear the lessons she learned when she turned the big 3-0. Ramadhani Oluoch is a self-employed digital creative by profession and a hobby vlogger. He runs a YouTube channel on parenting and lifestyle with his partner Shiko Nguru. After turning 30, Rama has been learning how to deal with the everyday life pressures and finding his work-life balance. Victor Otieno is an independent management consultant running a Pan-African management firm. He is deeply passionate about the African entrepreneur and has so far worked with over 400 organizations in over 5 African countries in East and Southern Africa. But his biggest passion is his wife Naomi and children. Dr. Stella Bosire Otieno is the CEO of the Kenya Medical Association and the Vice Chair for the HIV and AIDS Tribunal of Kenya. She's already a trailblazer at 30, running a personal foundation that helps young girls achieve their career goals and offers advice and inspiration through motivational speaking. Hashtag Victoria's Lounge is your ticket into the lounge and how you can chime into the conversation on social media. This party hat, albeit a bit crooked, is to celebrate the big 3-0. It is a celebration, isn't it, Stella?
Yes, it is.
So before you reached 30, what were some of the expectations you thought, I would actually get this before I turned 30?
I thought 30, I would be very, very old, extremely old. You know, you'd hear people say, I'm 30, I'm like, you're so old.
Yeah.
And by this age, I thought I'd have houses,
Okay.
I'd have 3 kids, and perhaps travel the whole world, or half of the world.
Wow.
Yes, those were my expectations until the economies of scale came on board, until pregnancy takes 9 months, so you can't do it every year because you just finished school at 25.
Right.
Yes, and such factors.
Okay,
Yes.
and I'll ask you whether you've reached those goals or not, but Ramadan, come to you. What were your expectations?
I just wanted to have my own company at 30. I kept mine very realistic.
Okay. So we're thinking like realistic?
Because
Okay.
I used to hear people say, I want to do this by 30,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you see them celebrate their 30th birthday, and you're like, oh, how much stuff have you done?
Right.
So I just kept mine very realistic. It was just simple.
Okay.
I want to have my own company when I'm 30.
Okay. How about you, Corey?
Mine was picture perfect. Probably prepping my kids to school, married, you know, like Stella, houses,
Right.
and like Ramsey, you know, like having a company, like my own PR company.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, when you're 26, there are all these things you say, oh, so I have 4 years to go. So I have 4 years to ensure that I've reached my goals when I'm 30.
Right.
And when you get to 30, you're like, X,
You have to reevaluate some
Exactly,
things. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. How about you, Victor?
For me, the milestone of 30 is I need to understand what my purpose on this earth is. Yeah, so obviously it can come in various forms
Right.
and you know, practices, but find the purpose. And you know, you don't want to reach 50 and you're looking back, I should
Right.
have done that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
do it now, get in line, then the rest falls
So
into
it takes
place.
off that pressure of the 30 milestone, I have to have, you know, achieved this rather than actually achieving a purpose, which you're constantly working towards, and it does change as well. I mean, for you, Stella, have you met some of those expectations now?
Well, the path, because of the years, the 4 extra years I had, like Corey, changed a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And number one, I went into, I'm a doctor by profession. I went into the healthcare business, and I discovered that this is not the picture I had when I was a student. There's a lot of disintegration of the system, discontinuity, and poor management of resources and all that. So first and foremost, I changed my career path. I was supposed to be a surgeon, and I decided to get into policy and high-level management in healthcare.
Yeah.
So at 30, 2 months before 30, I get appointed to be the CEO for Kenya Medical Association.
Amazing. Let's pause right there. Because that is an achievement for 30, yeah.
And I got an oopsie baby. I thank God. It was an oopsie baby when I was an intern. But 3 years down the line, I'm grateful I got my son. Because when he turned 1, I started planning about my postgraduate programs, and I started doing. I enrolled for 2 masters.
Wow.
I don't even think if I didn't get TJ before, I'd have thought about it, because I'd have thought, you know what, I need to do my master's, start my program for my PhD and all that. But having him earlier really opened me up, because I knew I have a 7-year window before this boy gets into school full force.
Right.
And in these 7 years, I need to have finished my PhD. Wow. So again, I reevaluated my goals and said, I need to change that.
Yeah.
At least I've traveled a third of the world.
Wow.
That I can put down. And I still am planning to travel more. This year, Europe. God willing.
Wonderful. Are you going to be doing like a backpacking through Europe, or you haven't kind of figured it out yet?
I love my hair, so I sit nicely in a plane or a bus, land a plane. I get to a hotel. I don't do backwards.
You want to be pampered through that trip.
Through the whole trip. Yes.
Rama, for you, I mean, did you reach some of those achievements, or are you still a work in progress?
I did, but I think along that path, a lot of things really changed. I think when I was 25, I realized I only have 5 years.
No, you look like you're 25 now, but that's besides the point.
I still get asked for ID when I go to some clubs.
Oh my gosh.
So when I was 25, I looked at my life and I said, you know what, the next 25 of my years are going to go just as fast as the last 25. So it's time for me to start thinking about the next 5 years and what I want to do. And at that time, I was doing advertising. I was just into advertising. I'd just gotten in. And digital advertising was something new. So I had a lot of mentors. I had a lot of guys throwing me stuff. You need to learn this, you need to learn that, and you need to. So I just took it upon myself and said, I'm going to learn as much as I can from everyone around, and make sure I become first in class. I, at that point, didn't know that we were the first people to do whatever we're doing right now.
Wow.
And I just threw myself into it and said, I'm not looking back.
Wow.
So I became more assertive as years went by. I managed at the end of my birthday, my 30th birthday, I just said, you know what, that company has to come. I did it.
Wow.
Along the way, I think just because of that assertiveness, I became more spiritual. It's like my friend is saying here, like, you know, you have to think about your purpose.
Right.
When you're here. And I started thinking about, you know, I don't want to be that 50-year-old guy who's still stuck in their 20s and you're trying to do all this. There's things I can get things I can get away with at 20 that I can't at 30.
Right.
And there's things you can get away with at 40 that you can't
Very
at 30.
true.
So I just started saying, you know what, just put yourself, live your life, live your truth. And I've been on that path. So I'm just right now happy. I can say I'm happy.
I mean, that's great, because some people say when you turn 30, and you said you live your truth, you kind of settle into yourself, you accept your imperfections, and you say, hey, take it or leave it, this is me. Whether you've reached some of those goals or not. And for you, Corey, I don't know if that was kind of your self-realization when you turned 30.
My journey to 30 is, or has been, one of misplaced priorities initially. And it got to a point where I realized this is what I want, and it doesn't matter how long it's going to take for me to reach to the goals that I want. And I believe that success or rather what we think is success for a 30-year-old is basically the different steps that you take towards achieving that. And for me, that's what it's all about right now. So for my undergraduate, I did education, so I taught at State House Girls, and then and then after that, I realized my passion for writing. It just transitioned into PR, and I just found myself in PR, and I loved it. And I was mentored by really good people in the agency world, up to right now where I'm a consultant, and it's, you know, and I think it's just a transition that I'm enjoying each and every other day. So for me, whether I've reached those goals, I'm heading there, and I'm happy.
How about you, Victor? I mean, you were married, kids. Was that part of the plan?
Obviously,
by 30?
Definitely.
It was.
For me, I moved out from my parents' house at 20. So obviously the learning curve to life is very steep. So for me, having been raised in a very, in a Christian setup, I've always known that family is the foundation of whatever you'd want to do. So at the back of my mind, I knew I would settle down very early. Obviously, most people would not understand that, but I knew that if I can build a solid foundation, then that can be a springboard for other successful things that you do in life.
Right.
So what I did is I got married at 25. My wife was 23 then. So yeah, so then everything else has just been falling into place. The rest of the things, houses, we managed to build a house.
Wow.
A bit painfully, obviously, but at least slowly by slowly, you're based on a very solid foundation of a family. Then there are stuff, are just basically falling into place. Okay. Also, I like my purpose specifically has been around making an impact. You always ask yourself, what can I do on this earth? And for me, is a journey that I've taken for the last, I think, 10 years, between 20 and 30. Right. And I feel that I can be able to positively impact people through enterprise building. So, we always say SMEs are the backbone of the economy. And then we focus on big companies. Then we forget the Mama Wanjiku who's cooking chapatis, who's cooking uji, selling in garages, probably starting a business and has no idea. There's no support system for that. Right. Yeah. So I moved from the rhetoric and just say, now can I be able to, just talk to these businesses and see what I can do for them.
Great. So charting your own path, and I know after we come back from the break, we'll be talking about, now that I'm 30, what is the plan moving forward? Keep it right here in Victoria's Lounge. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. Now, before we talk about the plan for our 30s, notice how I did that. I'm in that vicinity, by the way. I'm not giving exact figures. But why the obsession with 30? Is it that, you're supposed to have reached a certain milestone or certain things by that age, and culturally, and so now you have that pressure of, if you're not married, no kids, if you don't have a master's or a certain level of education, there's something wrong. Why are we so obsessed with 30?
I think it's perceptions of what is supposed to happen in your life at 30. But the society expects children, you're driving, you have a house, you have invested. But what they don't think about is the route to getting there. Rama says clearly that even as he's starting his SME, it's a process. Yeah. He had to go through mentorship. You can't just wake up one day mentorship and just start something. So again, it's to look at how do we get there, but how we get to that end point is up to an individual. It's not actually based on the education system, not based on the society, not based on the family needs. It's based on an individual. Because the people who are faster, I mean, depending on your personality, and then the people, especially introverts, who are a bit slower, and that's how they get their stuff done. They're silent, not aggressive people who get there faster. So will you condemn the introvert because they got there at 40? No, you don't. Because at 40, they are happy and they are satisfied. So at the end of the day, what really matters is the satisfaction to an individual.
Now, I want to kind of look at this from the gender perspective, in that, do you find the social pressure is more on women and the professional pressure on men? I remember reading an article of a young lady who said, I had gotten my master's and, I had a good job, but I was not congratulated until I was engaged, and you really wonder, okay, so what is more important? The fact that I worked hard and I got myself to this level, by myself, mind you, or that now I've reached this social milestone of I'm about to get married, So do you find the pressure is a bit more heavy? I'll ask you, Corey, on women.
I will say the perception or the expectations are highly dependent on yourself. Because the moment you put your expectations and priorities on what the society thinks, you're going to go into depression or whatever, or stress. So, and it's true, the pressure is more on women, because when a guy turns 30, I hardly know, it's never that a big deal when a guy is 30, because they just move on. But when a lady turns 30, it's like, now is how?
Right, exactly.
What's happening? But then here's the thing. So you are measured by your life, your social life. Are you married? Do you have kids? And nobody will ever look at the fact that, hey, this is what I'm doing in the society. At least you know, I'm trying to bring a bit of impact in the society. At least look at that too. And getting to, I mean, marriage and kids, it'll always come, and there's no way you can actually force it to happen just because you're 30 and because you want the society to think of you in a particular way.
I mean, are we assuming that, Rama, that it's more on women? Do you feel that pressure at all?
I do feel like the pressure is more on women at 30, because when I turned 30, like, I mean, I remember my birthday, my friend was just like, you know, let's get you silly drunk.
Right.
You know, pass out, it's fine. When you hit your 30th birthday, I think as a woman, it's a very different conversation people are having with you. It's, okay, so where are you in terms of career? Where are you in terms of marriage? How many kids do you have? The first question we ask is that, how many more are you having before the clock runs out?
Right.
Yeah, so because for us, you know, you'll be asked, so what are your plans for your career? And then you just say, I'm just hustling.
And that's an acceptable answer.
I'm just hustling.
It's a profession, by the way.
I'm hustling.
Hustling is a profession now. Give me 1 year, you'll see.
Right.
You have this business deal coming.
Oh,
and
my.
that's it. That's the end of conversation. All you have to say is, I have this business deal coming. And everyone's off your case,
You know, I wonder, for you, Victor, when you turned 30, do you feel different? You know, some people say, I felt like I matured. I came into myself. Did you have that epiphany moment at all, or was it just another day?
Not necessarily. I think I celebrated my birthday last year, September. And I just breezed through. I think it's my wife who just reminded me, hey, by then now you need to be serious.
Oh, really?
You know, now you're 30. Yeah. So it didn't really, like I said, for me is, are you going towards your purpose? And I feel that even the pressure that that women are receiving, I think it's perceived. It's not real pressure. You know, it's just because we live in a society in a society with a certain culture, that there is always this perceived pressure that you need to achieve things at a certain age. You know, a boat can never sink until it allows water to enter into it. So you can have all this pressure, but as long as you don't allow it to, you know, enter into your life, then you should be good. For me, the overarching goal is, are you moving in the right direction, regardless of, you know, success? Like we were talking. Success is almost like benchmarking against another person. So for me to be successful, then you have one car, I have two, so I'm successful. So as she was saying, it's good to be to aim for satisfaction. So satisfaction is you competing against yourself. So am I moving well spiritually? Fine. Am I doing well socially? If then, but is very focused on you, not on others.
And Stella, you actually mentioned that that's something that you really live by, is competing against yourself. How has that helped you at least achieve a lot of your goals?
I mean, I've always lived in my own world, in my mind, and every time I look at myself, like if you ask me yesterday and today, within the last 24 hours, what I've done, I'll tap today's Stella's back and not tap the other Stella's, because today Stella woke up, she did some literature review, she went through a lot, she went to the office before she came here, she did some work. It's because I look at myself, because I know my potential, because I know my weaknesses. You know, they usually do a SWOT analysis for the company. Who has ever done a SWOT analysis for themselves? Like you look at your opportunities and your threats and say, what are my threats? I am oversleeping, I'm too lazy, I'm procrastinating. You know, those are threats.
That's effective, actually.
Yes. When you look at yourself internally like that, then it's easy for you to get a very good report, an audit report, and say, so the last 3 months, the last 2 months, the last 1 month, this is the direction I've been taking, and this is the outcome. It's not what I want to do, so let me change direction. So you do that. But you make the mistake of looking at Vicky and Stella,
which we always do.
I will admit you at Madare Hospital because of depression or chiromulin, because you become suicidal, you start saying, oh, the world is against me, everyone hates me. And I'm like, no. Why? It's because you're benchmarking yourself with other people, which is wrong.
Yes. I think a lot of times, even beyond that, you're also fighting against those expectations or myths about being 30, Rama. I'll just read some here. You don't want to go out as much. Boys will be men. You'll mature that much faster, and you'll figure things out by 30. I mean, for you, does that what your checklist look like at all?
No. I think when I hit 30, the one thing that I said is it's okay to grow up, but don't accept to grow old.
Aha.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
yeah, just type that as and attribute it to Rama.
yeah, it's okay to grow up, but don't accept to grow old.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
what people expect out of you when you hit 30. So at 30, you start saying some things, people tell you, oh, you're not supposed to be saying that, now you're 30. I'm like, my personality doesn't change just because I celebrated an extra birthday.
Yeah.
I'm aware of what I'm saying. I think I started being unapologetic about who I am, because once you do the SWOT analysis, you can tell, like, if this is my weakness and my weakness has come and it's shown in this particular situation, it's easier for me to apologize for the weakness.
Right.
If this is my strength, then I don't need to apologize to anyone for showing what my strength is.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, any preconceived notions of how I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to behave at 30, out the door. Yeah.
And they say that actually kind of makes it easier for those who aren't married yet to date in their 30s, because you have a better sense of who you are, what you're willing to settle for or not.
Yeah.
For you, Corey, what has that case been for you? Without going to too much detail about your dating life, but just generally, how have you seen that, not just in dating, but also in how you carry out your relationships with friends, with family?
Okay. So now that we are quoting, we're coming up with quotes, right? So I usually tell myself, a habit is a disease. If you nurture a good habit, it becomes part of you. If you nurture a bad habit, it becomes still part of you. So for me, it's about values. And in terms of dating, there's always that person that you want to date. You know, there's always that, like, when you go back to God and you have this prayer list, and you tell God, whether I want this, I want this, I want this.
Yes.
But then again, at the end of the day, are you that person that you want to date? Like, will you date you?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the thing for me. So every day is an opportunity for me to reinvent myself, to make myself a better person. And I love what Matthew McConaughey, that name, right? Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So what he said when he won an Oscar, he said there are three things in life for him. So there's that which he looks up to, and that's God. And there's that which he looks forward to, and that's family.
Right.
And there's that which he chases, and that's his hero, and that's him. So that's him in 10 years.
Right.
So you always chase that person. So where am I going to be in the next 5 years?
Right.
What am I doing to be that person in those 5 years? So I keep chasing that person, and I think it's really meaningful. What that quote is all about is so meaningful to me, and that's what I'm working towards. If the man gets me on that path, we'll continue working together. So.
Right. No, I loved that speech by Matthew McConaughey, and the fact that he said, you know, someone asked him, who's your hero? And he was like, that's me 10 years from now. And then they met him again, and he said, you know, are you your hero yet? He said, absolutely not even close. You know, and I think that's the case. Once you reach 30, you realize, you know what? I may never be that person ever, but I'm sure much better than what I was maybe 5-10 years before this. You know, and for you, Victor, is that the case in terms of, and you've said it countless times through the conversation, in terms of purpose? That's the whole deal. It's not about, oh, I've reached this point and now I've made it. You never really arrive.
Most of us went through the 844 system, and you realize that the system does not allow you to find your true north. For me, it's a huge deal that I find my true north. I think, like I told you, even the moment I hit 20, I just asked God, you know, what do you really want from my life? So that when I die and leave this earth, I would have left the kind of impact that you purposed in my life, not me creating my own purposes for the sake of having a purpose. So so that's really.
And I know a lot of people ask now, this is a flip side, physical changes. I felt like when I turned 30, when I ate something, even thought about eating something, I gained the weight. And I'm just like, seriously? And it took so much more time to get weight off. I felt like I was slower, losing breath, coming upstairs. And I'm just like, my memory was just shot. I mean, for you, Stella, and you're the doctor, is there an actual scientific?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's proven. You're okay. You're okay.
All right. Thinking in the right direction. As you age, your metabolism slows down.
Yeah.
So if you have you have aggregated fats or in your body, it becomes harder to lose.
I have a lot of aggregated fat.
Yeah. So if accumulated fat over a long period of time, then becomes harder. because your heart rate, there are many factors that come into play. Your blood vessels are not as powerful as they were. Your blood pressure starts misbehaving. I mean, the issue of memory comes into play, and that's why as clinicians we start advising you, if in your 20s you misbehaved, please start to hit the gym.
Oh, wow.
Because what exercise does is that, one, it helps reduction of your blood pressure. 2, of course, it regulates your weight. 3, it keeps away the non-communicable diseases. Number 4, it improves your memory because of the improved blood supply to your brain. So yes, the gym is not just for the weight. There's a lot to the gym that pertains than your physical appearance. I do every day 2 hours.
2 hours every day?
Yes.
Pressure, because I'm trying to do it 3 times a week. Let's take a short break on that note. We'll be right back here in Victoria's Lounge. Welcome back. Before we went to break, Stella was just explaining the importance of just taking care of yourself in your 30s. And Rama, during the break, you said you actually decided to start jogging, and really, I think when you turn 30, you see the value of your physical body, right?
Physical well-being,
Yeah.
and how much value it adds to your life. Jogging is really, it's pain when you're jogging, but once you're done and you just step out of the shower, like you feel like you're rejuvenated, you're like a new person every time. Yeah.
I mean, how about you, Corey? Have you set some goals for yourself?
In terms of taking care of my body?
Yes.
Yes, I have. I took the first week of January, I took a break to go to Nyeri and Narumoru to just go and reflect on things, like, you know, like what I was telling you, when it's a new year, people always come up with resolutions,
right?
And some people would make fun of people who make up resolutions, but I think for different people, they do it for different purposes. For others, it's just a hope, a sense of hope that I can be a better person. So for me, it was about my spiritual self, and also about my health. I've not yet started hitting the gym.
2 hour lady here.
I've been a procrastinator about that, but I think that's something to consider. Like she's mentioned, I didn't know all that, other than, you know, cutting weight and all that. I didn't know, like, it helps your mind and stuff like that. So I think that is something to consider. And there's always something to learn every other day. So
very true. I mean, Victor, do you feel that sense, that pressure? You mentioned during the break that wifey has you on a detox.
I'm on a 10-day detox program.
Yeah.
Even this is bad for me. I was told.
Oh no! Okay, he didn't tell us that before. Sorry.
No, it's vegetables and green stuff. Anything man-made, stay away. So I'm just quoting my wife. Yeah. So, but I think for me, exercise has been part and parcel of the way I live. Although the last couple of years, maybe I haven't been, you know, very serious in terms of active exercising. But I try. You know, you try as much as possible to, you know, you can't live you know, your mind is your life has your body, spirit, and soul. So you need to ensure that you exercise all three fronts.
I know we're still living life. We're still kind of getting into our 30s. But what have you gotten so far?
I think the print that you live in this world, at the end of the day, all of us, we are all mortal. The print that you leave behind will not be dependent on who judges you, what is written about you, what is said about you, but it will be dependent on you as an individual, what has come out of the years that you've lived.
Right.
So for me, I have learned, one, to trust Stella. I always trust Stella. Number 2, to listen to Stella. The time Stella procrastinates, I have to slap Stella and tell her, you cannot procrastinate, you have to do this, and this is the timeline you have to do it.
Right.
And I've also learned to believe in me. And last but not least, to respect me. And respect comes in many ways. I respect my thoughts, I respect my decisions, and I hope that as I act, as I talk, as I think, that my thoughts will not affect Rama. My actions will not affect Rama. Because Rama, if we left here, he will not even remember the work that I do. But he remember this girl who smiled, this girl who's bubbly, because that's how I made him feel. So at the end of the day, it's how we relate to each other on a humanitarian basis. Not even the cars or the houses or this travel that you want to do. For me, that is my print.
Good point. And cut ourselves some slack, because I remember you had said this before we started the show, that we only had 15, half of the 30 years was 15, of course, and you're just a child and a teenager.
Yes.
And really you had, what, 5 years to get your act together until 30. So we need to cut ourselves some slack at times and not put that much pressure because, oh, so-and-so has gotten married, I haven't reached the aisle yet, you know. And for you, Rama, what are some of the lessons that you've gathered so far?
My biggest lesson, I think, so far has been to be very intentional with whatever I do and to think through everything I'm doing. So in terms of, you know, what type of energy am I giving out? So I try as much as possible to kind of like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I deal with my own problems first. And then when I can't deal with mine, I ask for help.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's also okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Then what that does is, once you know how to deal with your problems, you kind of become a pillar for a lot of people, because you're in a better position to tell someone, okay, I can empathize with you because I've been through the same thing.
Yeah.
And this is how you deal with this situation you're in.
Yeah.
So for me, it's that type of energy that I want to give out there, so that when Rama is no longer here physically, at least you'll remember, okay, no matter what happened, this guy made me laugh. This guy did this guy did this for me. So it's what you do for other people and what you do for yourself in the end that really makes you remembered. And one of my biggest fears, I think, when I turned 30 was just sitting there and thinking, okay, one day I'll be gone and no one will remember me.
Wow. Yeah.
So my fear is actually being forgotten. So I try as much as possible to just make sure that whoever I interact with, whoever God has placed around me, really remembers that I was there.
Yeah. You know, it's a good point, because sometimes we can forget about ourselves and addressing our needs and project a false sense of strength.
Yeah.
You know, so now you're kind of worrying about everyone else around you, and you haven't worked on yourself. You know, and you're busy suffering silently, and the next thing you know, you're a messed up case. But for you, Corey, what are some of your lessons?
For me, it's put God first right now. Now more than ever, I know that all the achievements that I've had up to date when I'm 30, it's not been my own doing, it's been God. And then another thing is put me first, you know. My values, you know, and also when I'm putting me first, just like Rama has said, what are you giving out there? Earlier we were talking with Stella and we were just talking about mentorship, and I always tell people, try as much as possible to mentor people. And for us women, because we understand what girls go through, it's always good to take a girl under your wing and mentor her, you know. And also another thing is the value of friends. I've learned what friendship really is. I think now more than ever I value what friendship is. And I think the more we grow up, the smaller the circle becomes, and I think that's a good thing, because it's positive energy, you don't get negative energy.
It's so interesting, because the moment you said you have smaller friend circles, everyone was like, yes. Because you realize just the importance of the quality of friendships, not the quantity of how many friends you have around you, but what value are they adding to you. You know, Victor, and we talked about this a bit earlier on. That's one of the lessons you've kind of picked up?
Yes, obviously. And as part of the lessons that I've learned, again, I have a very personal relationship with the God that I serve. And I would say this: the battle is not for the strong, not the race for the swift. Yeah, so you don't, but time and chance happens to them all. You know, that is something that I've come to understand, that your chance will come. It might take 10 years, it may take 20 years, but it will come. Yeah. So that's the biggest lesson that I've learned. But as she said, the circle of friends is never big. Social media has given us this perception that I have 5,000
false sense of
2,000 followers, and someone is even looking at the computer or the tablet. If there is no like, you know, there's a problem here.
Who you are as a person.
Is
entirely dependent on how popular you are. You know, like some people would say, like, if I post a photo on Instagram and it doesn't get 100 likes, I need to change the outfit.
Oh wow! Or delete it. Post another that's a bit more different filters, lighting.
You know, that is actually one of the specters of medicine in psychiatry that is being looked at, because social media has exposed us to a lot of people to undiagnose attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
Oh.
You put a picture, ta 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 ta. If you don't if you don't get likes, you delete. So again, that tells you about what this person. It tells you about the personality of this person. Maybe it's a loner. Most of the people who are very loud in social media, if you're to meet them physically, they are very quiet, very chilled out. They don't even talk, and you're like, I thought. Nope. So again, that tells you about people that it's easy in their mind. They're not known. There's no facial connection. There's no one-on-one connection when they post. But individually, that's not who they are.
So go for more human interactions. After all, we're dealing with human beings, not avies on social media. Thank you so much to my panel. I think it's time we cut this cake, right?
Yes.
And probably celebrate our 30th. I was saying this is just in case we didn't have a birthday party or something when we turned 30. So here we go. We can sing a little happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us 30s. Happy birthday to us. Thanks for watching. I'm Victoria Rubadiri. Thank you to Crown Plaza Hotel for hosting us. Keep the conversation going on social media. # Victoria's Lounge. Let's do this again next week. Have a wonderful evening. Let's cut this cake.
Do blue.